लेकिन 20वीं सदी च अवतार बहुत हुंदे ने ਅਸੀਂ ਸੱਚ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਰੱਖੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜੀਏ एकता ਵਿੱਚ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਵਾਂ ਸਹੀ ਰਾਸਤੇ ਤੇ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਈ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਹੀ ਰਾਸਤਾ ਸਰ ਸਵਰਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਥਾਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਸਹੀ ਰਾਸਤਾ ਸਰ ਸਵਰਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਥਾਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਹੀ ਰਾਸਤਾ ਸਰ ਸਵਰਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਥਾਂ ਲੈਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਰਾਸਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਸੱਚਾਈ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚਣਾ सही रास्ता वक्र लोगों ਲਈ वक्र है ਆਪਾਂ एकता ਵਿੱਚ रहिए जय जय ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਵੀ ਕਰੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਦੁੱਖਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਡਰੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਦੱਸ
And the last time I said it in Punjab University and there were 5 boys who got up and said we'll kill you.
When you're looking at a painting, always look at the style and look at the manner in which the painting has been done. Don't be misled by any inscriptions that are on the picture.
We're based in Glasgow in Scotland. Both of us were born and raised here. And I would describe myself as Sikh and then Punjabi and then Scottish.
ਆਪਾਂ एकता ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹੀਏ ਜੈ ਜੈ
I grew up listening to classical music. Can you imagine, a young boy, wanting to do music and he's not being allowed to because it's not the right job and it doesn't look good, it's not good for the family image, etc., etc. The conflicts, the struggle that often people talk about amongst British Asians, with regards to occupations and jobs and all the rest of it, that was never there. I think there was a fear, from my parents' standpoint, that perhaps, I might struggle financially or I might not end up with a regular source of income or whatever, There was that kind of uncertainty, but they just trusted, they just had faith. I remember going to the Gurdwara when I was studying for my A-levels and I used to get really emotional listening to the kirtan. I can't explain the kind of emotion, but I used to feel really, it was like inspiration, I would say. I used to just feel really inspired, but then at the same time I had this urge to do something like musically, but I didn't know what it was. And this was it. This was it. This was what it was. This was it. Up until now, I consider my life to be blessed. I feel very, very blessed. I'm a very lucky girl. I don't have a manager, I don't have an agent. I've just been very lucky to meet the right people. I'm also a music teacher as well, so. And the kids love it, because you come back, and you've done all these crazy gigs, and you bring that inspiration into the classroom, which feeds into their work, and that's really important. That's really, really important for teachers, especially music teachers, I think. You need to be an active musician to be an effective music teacher. facilitator, coach, mentor, etc.
And first of all, we'd like to present to Miss Heather.
And it inspires me to think, 1 minute a child can walk in not knowing how to play, I don't know, Thriller, and then an hour later they can play it. And that's amazing. At the moment we're doing body percussion and beatboxing and all that kind of stuff, so they love that too. I have had young girls who want to take up music, and I have had to have lots of conversations with parents explaining why it's okay not to be afraid. The parents are coming from a space of love. I can imagine that that parent must absolutely adore their child and they want the best for their child, and that is a good thing. It's just generating the right kind of conversation. You can still do something about it, but that takes courage. You can still say, look, this life isn't working for me. I want to change it, and that takes courage. And I don't know how you measure courage, but anyone who can take a stand and say, no, this is what I'm feeling, this is my path, I take my hat off to you.
Knowing your Sikh identity does not mean that it is against Hindus or against Muslims. It is knowing your background, your culture, how you have evolved. After all, it is only 5 centuries. Why did Guru Sahibs collect all the Bani of all the Bhaktas written in Marathi and Hindi and Sanskrit and whatever, and include it in the holy book? Why do you bow before it?
हम पापी की गर्द पाए गुर सिक्खा की कार तोड़ दे गुर सिक्खा की कार.
Why did Guru Nanak collect the first Sufi saint, Baba Sheikh Farid's Bani, who had died 300 years before Nanak was born? He collected it. Was it written in Punjabi? Punjabi script was invented by the third Guru. And Sheikh Fareed's Bani was written in Persian script. And if you say that nothing which is not written in Gurmukhi script should be acceptable, then remove all the Bani of the Bhaktas from Guru Granth Sahib and remove Sheikh Fareed's Bani. Only then bow before it. They said, how dare you say these blasphemous things? And the head of the Punjabi department, he got up and said, do you know we can kill you for this? I said, go ahead. And 5 of his students got up. I said, I am here in room number 1, but I'll be gone at 6 o'clock in the morning. So if you want to do something about me, this is the time. After that, I didn't go. Nobody invited me. They said she's too troublesome.
ਗੁਰ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰ
हर हर गंग महादेव श्री शंकरा पार्वती पति महादेव श्री शंकरा हर हर गंग महादेव श्री शंकरा पार्वती पति महादेव श्री शंकरा हर हर गंग महादेव श्री शंकरा पार्वती पति महादेव श्री शंकरा हर हर गंग महादेव श्री शंकरा पार्वती पति महादेव श्री शंकरा
It was a conspiracy of Arya Samajis and the government combined. That at the time of census, the Hindus were tutored that when the census happens, don't tell that your mother tongue is Punjabi, say it is Hindi. But they are talking in Punjabi, they are dreaming in Punjabi, they are abusing in Punjabi, they are making love in Punjabi, they are fighting with their wives in Punjabi, they are abusing their servants in Punjabi, and they are, with all those big old abuses of affection, they greet their friends. So, but they cannot read Punjabi anymore. So, in Haryana, in Himachal, Punjabi is not taught. It is not Hindu versus Sikh. It is the tyranny of the ruling classes, which is destroying gradually the Sikh identity, the Sikh culture. Punjab Arts Council, they invited me to give a speech. So when I went there, the hall was full and they were waiting. What is happening? Why is not the program being started? And they said, we are waiting for the chief guest. Who is your chief guest? KPS Gill. KPS Gill. So 2 days before that, a news item had appeared that 439 unidentified bodies had been recently cremated in Taran Taran and Patti. So he came, he delivered his lecture. After he finished, I raised my hand and I said, I want to ask a question. The organizers were so terrified, they said, please don't. I said, I will. So they said, please don't. So I walked out. With me walked out all the press. They said, what did you want to ask him? I said, he says, I have created peace in Punjab. I just wanted to ask him if there's peace in Punjab. 2 days before, 439 young boys have been cremated in Taran Taran and Patti alone. If this is during peace, what has been during the actual war between you and the fundamentalists, whatever. And he's so fond of shares. I also wanted to add a share to him. And that was, उसी का शहर, वही मुद्दई, वही मुंसिफ. हमें पता था हमारा ही कसूर निकलेगा. The city belongs to him. He is the judge. And he is the witness. I knew I'll be hanged. The next day all the papers were full of my statement. And they said, please don't come to Punjab now. He'll get you killed. And the secretary was one Kalada. He was killed by KPS Gill. So now whenever he passes me in India International Center, he half closes his eyes. And I tell him, Sardar ji, मुच्छां ते हाली तक उच्चियां, अक्खां क्यों नीवियां कर दियो? I haven't written a story for the last 3 years. My readers keep asking me. I'm so depressed about the dying of values in Punjab. So I have been fighting several battles, you know. So I'll die fighting. I want to die in my shoes, you know, like a soldier.
I'm at the moment principal of Acheson College, which is one of our leading institutions. It was established in 1886 to teach the princes of the Punjab, including many of the Sikh states at that time, Patiala, etc., to become better rulers. I'm a lineal descendant of Fakir Nuruddin, who was one of the ministers at the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. His greatest skill, in my opinion, was that he could articulate the Maharaja's thoughts. And if I was to draw an analogy perhaps between Kissinger and President Nixon, whatever President Nixon wanted to say but did not want to say overtly, Kissinger was the mouthpiece. I'm not saying he was the parrot, but he was certainly the mouthpiece. Somebody, a man called P.C. French, Vogel, writing many years ago, had said, inscriptions lie, paintings don't. So if you need to go, when you're looking at a painting, always look at the style and look at the manner in which the painting has been done. Don't be misled by any inscriptions that are on the picture, because inscriptions can be added. subsequently. But a painting, a good painting, any painting, it cannot lie to the viewer. You can detect, even if it's a Van Meegeren, you can detect the forgery. So in this case, I merely mention this because Ken Robbins asked me whether I would talk about the Court of Lahore. And this magnificent painting, because it is in Lahore, because of our family connection, it seemed an obvious subject to bring to a Sikh, US Sikh audience. You have to view it through the eyes of the artist. You have to put yourself in the mind of the artist and ask yourself, rather like you're looking at Da Vinci's The Last Supper. Every one of these paintings were documentaries. You're making one now. They were still documentaries. They were narratives on canvas. And they're true of paintings by Frith, William Frith, the Derby Day, Royal Academy and things like that. There was a deliberate reason for putting artists where he did, as Goya did. When you think of the royal family, the Spanish royal family, one of the duchesses is turning her face away from the painter. That itself is a comment, and it's a comment by Goya on her and her position at the court. So in order to succeed, you have to put yourself in the mind of the artist, and once you do that, then it makes the relative position of each a little more explicable and understandable. I had already done a book called Pahadi Paintings and Sikh Portraits of the Lahore Museum collection. And it seemed a natural corollary. So when Sotheby's, which published my first book, wanted to repeat a second volume on something which was related, I offered them this manuscript and they took it. So it was detective work of a sort. I had to trace and look for clues and then finally put the whole thing together. Once I had got my research and once I had broken the code of the painting, of knowing why Schurft had put these people, 100-odd people, in the location which he had, and once I had broken the painting, this huge canvas, into its manageable segments, the book actually took only 6 weeks to write. It came fully formed, if there is such a thing, almost fully formed in my mind, that once I knew what I wanted to, how I wanted to structure the book, that was it. I sat down and within 6 weeks I'd completed the entire manuscript, references and all, so I was younger then. I've said it to a number of my Indian friends and Pakistani friends as well. The only way that we can have a meaningful relationship and coexistence between India and Pakistan is to have common ownership. And by that I mean you have common businesses in India owning businesses in Pakistan and vice versa. Not through Dubai, not through the UK, but directly. Because when you have a vested interest in another country, when you have a commercial interest, a financial interest in another country, it makes you think twice before bombing it. That is what led to the integration of Europe. While German industrialists owned German industries like Krupp's, and the French Dassault owned the French industries, we were at war. The moment you had cross ownership, and you had French companies owning German and vice versa, it kind of diluted the confrontation. And I believe that that is the way that we can move into the future.
The song is one of the compositions that we put together for this concert. It tells a story of when Maharani Jinda meets Dalip Singh after many years, and she's gone blind, and she kind of puts her hand over his head and discovers that he's no longer a Sikh, with his full kesh and dastar, and so the song is basically, you know, her feelings at the time.
Yeah. It's her dialogue with her son. She's explaining to her son that I've not seen you for so long, and I've wanted to see you for so long, and now that I'm questioning you as to where's your long hair gone, and where has your Sikh identity gone. Later on in the song, she's explaining, you know, that Sikhs have gone through so much to protect and preserve this identity. So, you know, why have you given this up when I've been through so much just to protect it? Dalip Singh then says to his mother that, you know, I'm seeking your forgiveness, and in a moment of weakness or through pressure from outside forces, I've had to give up this identity, but I'm going to go with you to the Gurdwara, and I'm going to go with you and seek you know, penance for giving up this identity. I'm going to come back into the Sikh fold.
Going out as musicians, you know, having a unique identity is a positive for us. We stand out. You know, when people talk about Tigerstyle, they, you know, instantly have an image in their head.
And I think because some of our material is talking about Sikh heritage, and some of it is talking about, you know, Sikhism, it's very fitting that we have this image. I mean, I think if we didn't have this image and we were talking about those subjects, people would question why are you talking about that, because your image doesn't fit what you're talking about. Music was always playing in our home from birth. You know, our father was very into Punjabi folk music like Kuldeep Manak and Surinder Shinda, and he was very into Kishore Kumar and Muhammad Rafi.
हम और तुम और ये समा क्या नशा नशा सा है बेकरार से हो क्यों हमको पास आने भी दो
We started at quite an early age. We used to go to Punjabi school at the Gurdwara and learn Punjabi, and then from there the Granthi Sahib used to teach us how to recite Kavita.
And before we even went to school and were exposed to Western music in that setting, there was always like things like reggae, or Chacha was very much into like Bob Marley.
I'm the son of a Sardar.
It's kind of a combination of all the different styles that we've grown up with. There's a bit of hip hop in there. There's a bit of Arabic music that we've come across over the years. There's bits of Punjabi music and with the Tumbi and so on. So in terms of the music, it's kind of a mishmash of all the things that we've been exposed to, and being very proud of who we are and where we come from, and the sort of values that have been instilled in us as Sikh men. As time progressed and people actually realised what we were trying to achieve, they became more open to the idea of mixing modern styles with Dardiwana, or things or bits of music or bits of lyric that speak about Sikh history, or that speak about the Sikh heritage, as it were, because they find that combining it with such a modern style opens it up to people that wouldn't necessarily go to the Gurdwara to listen to Dardiwana, or people that wouldn't listen to Katha or Kirtan.
Punjabi code language, it ain't no deciphering. Hot now, more dangerous. The hype fear ones is us, I know I'm causing them all angels when I pick up the mic and run.